What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a Sword and Shield and Scarlet Violet booster box update ranking video. It's the middle of 2025, so I figured we're due for one of these. And I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I actually just recorded this video. It was 48 minutes of raw footage, and when I went to go upload everything, I realized I didn't turn my microphone on, so I actually had no audio for this. So we're going to redo this. And that's probably going to mean the cuts and the edits in this aren't going to be great. You might hear some ums and ahs. Normally I try and cut all that stuff out for you guys' viewer experience, but this is going to be a longer video, and I was planning to do that to the best of my ability, but just because I got to record this again, it might be a little bit rougher, so bear with me, but I'll try and make it as enjoyable as possible. You guys can see here, we have all of our tiers. We have the bottom tier, I'd rather buy Labubus. The tier above that is going to be meh. Then we're going to have all right, me gusta, and S tier, which is going to be our best boxes. And we'll start with Sword and Shield base. I'll just talk a little bit about every set, give my opinion about things, and then we'll throw it in here somewhere and just see where everything goes. And if you guys disagree or agree, that's great. Let me know in the comments down below. Starting off with Sword and Shield base, this is going to go right into meh tier, and it's probably going to be towards the back of meh tier by the end of this video. Spoilers. But Sword and Shield base, it's around $550 for all intents and purposes at this point. I know that TCG Player Graph says it's around $460, but I'm going to leave you guys with this data here, which Sword and Shield base, you can see there were 0 boxes listed below $550 on the open market last week on eBay. So this box, if you do want to buy it right now, it's pretty much $550. It's getting expensive. The graph's behind a little bit on TCG Player. Only a 55.51% return over the past year. I know only 55% return, but it's not the best set. There really is no interesting cards in it. It's expensive. It's seen a lot of its growth already. I think that's going to be one of the worst performing booster boxes over the next 3 to 5 years. And I will say, guys, this ranking is going to be me basing everything off TCG Player price. If you can buy this box for $100 or $200, sure, then it's probably going to be an S tier investment. There's a price to buy everything, and if you can buy something at 50% of market, it probably makes sense to pick it up even if you want to flip it in the short term. But this is going to be based on market price, and then also just where I see things going in the next 3 to 5 years. And I'm going to take reprints into consideration. I'm going to take into consideration where I think the market is going to be. So some of these sets are probably going to be a lot lower on the list than you guys would expect, just based on what I think is going to happen over the next few years. So with all that said, Rebel Clash, we're going to put this in I'd rather buy Labubus. This is probably going to be the bottom box. Rebel Clash, Rebel Trash. I actually almost said that the first time, but this box, $350-ish on eBay right now, $325 on TCG Player. Not a great performer, nothing crazy in this set. Do not buy Rebel Clash. That is my opinion. Next up, Darkness Ablaze. I'm actually going to put this in meh, and I'm going to put it in front of Sword and Shield base. This set actually sells at a decent pace on eBay. It also has a Charizard in there. It's up 70% over the past year, so it's done better than Sword and Shield base and Rebel Clash. It's not one of my favorite boxes, but it has surprised me how well it's done over the past year. This box was sitting around $140, $150 for a long time. It's now starting to take off slowly, and I think that's a good sign, but I don't think it's the best place to put your money. I don't even think it's close to the best place to put your money. So for that reason, I'm going to leave it in mid tier. And the same sort of thought process is going to be applied to Vivid. I'm actually going to put it behind Darkness, though. I'm a bit more bullish on Darkness Ablaze than Vivid Voltage. There's a lot of Vivid Voltage out there. If we go back to this data, I'll show you guys. Out of all of these Sword and Shield sets, you can see there were 80 boxes listed below a 20% leg up last week by It Now North America. That was the second highest behind only Silver Tempest, which is the newest set. So there's still a decent amount of this set out there. And outside the Pikachu in there, it's not really that crazy. There's not a lot of interesting cards. So for that reason, I'm going to leave it in the middle of meh. Now, before we go any further in the video, I want to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, the Shiny app. Guys, whether you're investing or collecting, it's important to know what you have at all times, and Shiny is a mobile app that allows you to put in all your sealed product and cards, whether they're singles or graded, for not just Pokemon, but also One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic, and a couple other games. And in terms of Pokemon, they don't just cover English, they also cover Japanese and simplified Chinese. And in my opinion, their user experience is much easier than their competitors. And also when it comes to updating their market data, they're doing it more often than everybody else. They're updating twice a day from places like TCG Player, eBay, Card Market, and price charting. And the best part is the app is free to use, so I'm going to leave links to the Google Play and App Store down below. And thank you again to Shiny for sponsoring the video. Now, moving into the alt art sets, we're going to start with Battle Styles. I'm going to put this in meh, but at the front of meh. This really could be a middling tier set in a lot of people's eyes. It's around $200. I think it's the cheapest booster box out of all of them from the Sword and Shield and Scarlet Violet era. Maybe out of every single booster box at this point. Battle Styles is the cheapest right now, but there's still a decent amount of it out there. Outside of the Tyranitar in the set, you really don't have anything crazy. You have like an Empoleon. The Urshifus are kind of cool, I guess, but the set's not that great. And I think I'd rather be buying some of the Esfera sets at this point. And when you compare Battle Style supply to something like Sword and Shield base, or excuse me, Scarlet and Violet base, or even like Stellar Crown, I think there's more Battle Styles in some of these Esfera sets still out there below a 20% leg up. So I just don't think that's a great place to put your money right now. And I mean, you could make an argument to put a little bit higher just because it is an alt art set. It is older than a lot of these Scarlet and Violet era sets. But I'm going to leave it in meh. I'm just not a huge fan of Battle Styles. I bought some, I ended up selling it all and putting my money into better investments. So for that reason, I'm just going to put it in meh. Now, next up, Chilling Reign. This is a set that I was very high on for a long time. Like, I would put it in S tier rankings towards the back or high A tiers. And I thought the set was going to do a lot better than it's done over the past year. If we go take a look quickly, you can see Chilling Reign up 93% on the year, 93.5%. But Evolving Skies is up over 200. Fusion, you can't see the year graph because it's broken on TCG Player, but this is probably up 150, 200%. Brilliant Stars up over 120. Astral, same deal. Lost is closer to 150. So this set really just hasn't done as well as I thought it would. Now, with all that said, I'm still going to put it in A tier, in Me Gusta. And the reason for this is because I still like the set. I think it's a decent buy still. When you look at all the other alt art sets, you have Brilliant Stars around the same price. You have Astral around the same price. I would much rather buy Chilling Reign. And considering that some of these Scarlet and Violet era sets are now pushing like $400, $300 on a couple of them, I think that these alt art sets that are, 3-4 years old at this point, they're still looking like decent buys in my eyes. So I'm going to put it in A tier, in Me Gusta. It's probably going to be towards the back of the tier by the end of this video, but I'll leave it there. Now, next up, Evolving Skies. You guys know I just bought another box of Evolving Skies, and I still think that even at 12, 14x MSRP, I've said this a million times, I'm a broken record at this point, it's still going to be one of, if not the best performing Sword and Shield era booster box over the next 3 to 5 years. It's going in S tier. Obviously, there's a chance every single box gets reprinted, but the odds Evolving Skies booster boxes get reprinted is probably less than 0.00001%, whereas a lot of these Scarlet and Violet era sets that I think are decent buys still, and they're cheaper, which makes them more attractive, a lot of them are probably still going to get reprinted, or the likelihood that they get reprinted is still decently high and much higher than Evolving comparatively. So for that reason, and also just the fact that I do think it's going to be one of the best performing sets still over the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, if we look at ROI over the past year for Evolving, if I can find it here, 201%. That's higher than pretty much every booster box we're going to look at in this video by a long shot, especially the Scarlet and Violet era stuff. It just hasn't held up, which kind of makes sense. I mean, some of those sets are getting reprinted, which makes it understandable why these older sets are doing better right now. We're going to have to wait and see what happens over the next 2 years, I guess, 18 months to 2 years. But Evolving Skies, it's still going to be up there. It's a great set, probably the best set of the modern era. Even at its current price tag, I have no problem recommending this set to people. I genuinely believe you're still going to make decent money buying this at $2,000 USD. And if you can find a deal for $1,900 on Facebook or something like that, that's awesome. So Fusion Strike, next up, I'm going to put this in S tier as well. And I think these are going to be the only 2 sets that I put in S tier, just because these sets are older. They're out of print, they're great alt art sets, and Fusion, similar to Evolving, I think it's very unlikely to get reprinted. It's got some very strong cards in there, and I think it's going to hold up well over the next 3 to 5 years. And it's unfortunate the graph doesn't show the year, but I do think that Evolving might even be lower than Fusion Strike, if that makes sense. This might be above 200%, because I'm trying to think back, middle of last year, this was like a $250 box, so now if it's like $750, it's almost a 3x. Now, next up, we'll take a look at Brilliant Stars. And I think Brilliant Stars, I'm going to have to put this I mean, it's close. I'm probably going to put it in front of Chilling Reign. And I wouldn't have done this a year ago. I thought Chilling Reign was a way better set, but Brilliant Stars has outperformed Chilling over the past year. I think people enjoy the Charizard and some of the other cards in there, like the Umbreon, the Sylveon, even the Mimikyus are cool, and the birds, the gold birds in there. So Brilliant Stars, I'm going to put it in front of Chilling Reign. Both those are probably going to be closer to the back of A tier once we're done with this video, but I still like both of those. I don't think that they're bad investments, even at $400. And moving on, Astral Radiance. I'm actually going to put this in all right tier, somewhere in the middle. Astral, it's an alt art set. It's not a great alt art set. It's close to $400. So when you compare it to Darkness Ablaze or Sword and Shield Base or even Battle Styles, right? Battle Styles is about half the price of Astral Radiance at this point. I still think I'd rather buy Astral over Battle, as ridiculous as that sounds to some people, but around 350, 360, you could probably find it on Facebook. It's somewhere in the middle of the road. I wouldn't be putting tons of money into Astral. If you have a very large position in Astral, I'd probably recommend cutting back a little bit and putting that money into other sets or products. Next up, Lost Origin. I'm going to put this at the top of A tier. Some people might even put this higher than Fusion, just based on the fact that Lost is $490 right now, Fusion's $730, and I could see an argument for that. I really wouldn't be mad if you ranked Lost Origin higher than Fusion. I still think Lost Origin is going to be a great investment over the next 3 to 5 years. I think a lot of these alt art sets are going to hit $1,000 eventually, and then something like Fusion, Lost, those are probably going to hit 1,500, 2 grand. I mean, if you look where Unbroken Bonds is at this point, Unified Minds, Cosmic Eclipse is pushing 3K already, Team Up's pushing 7. So those sets reaching those numbers, it's likely that Sword and Shield era will get there eventually. And also, all these sets are safe from reprints. I know a lot of these Scarlet and Violet era sets look attractive. They have awesome cards. And I think when you compare the sets, you can make an argument to say that some of these Scarlet and Violet era sets are better. But just based on current market price and where they are in their print cycles, they're not as attractive of options right now, if that makes sense. And before we talk about Scarlet and Violet, we do have to finish off the list with Silver Tempest. I'm going to put this in the middle tier and all right. I'm going to put it in front of Astral. These sets are very close, but you can buy Silver for what, 7 to 10% cheaper than Astral right now. The Lugia's one of my favorite cards from the Sword and Shield era. If you wanted to choose Astral over Silver, I actually put Astral higher than Silver on a lot of my lists in the past. Now I'm going to put Silver higher just because it's a little bit cheaper, but I think those sets are going to be fairly close over the next 3 to 5 years in terms of their output. Now, moving into the Scarlet and Violet era, we'll start off with Scarlet and Violet base. I'm going to put this in all right, and I'm going to put it behind Astral. There might even be an argument you want to put it a little bit higher, but I'm going to leave it here for now. This set isn't crazy. There's no super huge chase card in here, but you have the Drowsy, you have the Slowpoke, you have the Miriam, and a couple other cards in there. I don't mind it. It's got some interesting artworks, and when you look at the amount of supply of this box out there compared to a lot of the other Scarlet and Violet era sets, there isn't a ton. Even when you compare it to the Sword and Shield era, I think there's less boxes out there. At least last week when we looked at the 20% leg up, there was less compared to like Battle Styles and Vivid maybe. Like there really aren't that many cases on the market right now. And you can see this box has steadily climbed. It hit around $190, $200 back in March, early March. And since then it's just been steadily going up, now sitting around $210 at this point. I'm a big fan of these Scarlet and Violet era sets. I think they're going to do well long term. And SV base being the first set, it's over 2 years old at this point, and it's going to be rotating out early next year along with Paldea Evolved, Obsidian, Paradox, and then your specialty sets, of course, like Paldean Fates, and I think, 151. So the set is getting older. It's still in a window where it could potentially get reprinted later this year, maybe early next year. Like that's still a possibility. It's a higher possibility than any of the Sword and Shield stuff getting reprinted. So I don't think I can put some of these Sviera sets that high on the list, unfortunately. And some people are probably going to disagree with that and not understand my reasoning. And that's fine, like if you disagree with that. But for right now, I'm going to put SV base there. Now, next up, Paldea Evolved. This is a very interesting one. And if I was making this video 2-3 months ago and this box was around $250, it would probably be a lot higher on this list. If you guys remember, I made a YouTube short like over a month ago and I said Paldea Evolved was going to hit $300 on May 16th. We were going to see a $300 sale during the TCG Player Mayhem sale, and the box was like $250 at the time. It's now getting close to $400. I think we did see a couple sales there. There were a day or two on eBay where the lowest listed box was $399.99. I think it's pulled back a little bit since then. Some people are starting to take profits. I actually sold 8 booster boxes of Paldea Vault. I'm considering selling 1 or 2 more just to get to a zero cost basis. I think I have like a few $100s to go at this point. But I am basing this video on current TCG player price, and this box is still around 370. So at 370, I don't love it as a buy. I also don't hate it. I'm probably going to put it at the back of Me Gusta because I think the set is still awesome. It's one of the older ones. It's a little over 2 years old at this point. The PSA 10 price of the Magikarp is very, very high. It's hard to grade those in a 10, but at $370, there might be better places to put your money. It still could potentially get reprinted in the short term. If you can find this box at $300, $310 locally, something like that, people are trying to take some profits. It might be a little bit higher on this list. I don't think it would be in front of Lost Origin right now, but based on current price, I'm going to leave it there. You guys can let me know in the comments down below if you disagree or agree with anything. So I'm sure there's going to be someone writing a comment saying that Paldea Evolves S tier, but me personally, I just can't put it higher on the list. Now, next up, Obsidian Flames. I'm going to put this in all right behind SV Base. This set's okay. I memed on this set for a long time. It's up 122.5% over the past year. You can see, not Paradox, where's Paldea over here? Up 178, almost 179%. It's definitely been outperformed by Paldea. I think that that is more than likely going to continue, but the fact that it's one of these older sets from the Scarlet and Violet era, we're not super likely to get more of this product, even though it still potentially could happen. I'm gonna leave it in the middle of the pack somewhere, around all right tier. Some people might put a little bit higher, a little bit lower. I think that's fine. Next up, Paradox Rift. I'm going to put this in all right tier. I'm going to put it in front of SV Base and Obsidian Flames. The reason for this is Paradox Rift is still fairly close in price to SV Base. I don't think this set is crazy good. I mean, I like the Groudon. The Altaria is an interesting card. I like the Paradox Pokemon, like the Roaring Moon, the Iron Valiant, but a lot of people don't. They don't enjoy those cards. There's not a super expensive chase. Again, the pull rates on these first few sets were, I believe, easier than some of these later sets, and that's why the cards aren't super, super expensive. But at the same time, I just don't think this set is as good as a lot of people think it is. You see people calling this like the chilling reign of the Scarlet and Violet era. I don't agree with that. I really don't think it's on the same level when you look at the top chases. So it's somewhere in the middle of the road. It's one of the cheaper booster boxes you can buy right now. It's not super, super likely to get reprinted, probably less likely than something like Twilight Masquerade or Surging or Destined. So for that reason, I'm putting it decently high on the list, but I wouldn't go crazy into Paradox. Temporal Forces, kind of the same deal. I'm actually going to put this a little bit lower on this, though. I might put it all the way back here behind Obsidian Flames. Maybe some people would put it up here. You might even want to put it in front of Paradox. But the fact that it's, I believe, not part of the G block, which means it's going to be a rotation for another year, it's also a little bit more expensive already compared to something like Paradox Rift. It is cheaper than Obsidian Flames, but Obsidian Flames, it just continues to climb, and it's got a Charizard in there, and it's part of G block. So for all those reasons, I am going to put Temporal Forces fairly far down on the list, and you guys are going to see a trend with a lot of these newer SVR sets. I just can't put them that high, and you're going to see that right now with Twilight Masquerade. I'm actually going to put this at the back of all right tier, guys. I love Twilight Masquerade now. I think that it's probably one of the top 4 booster box sets of the Scarlet and Violet era. You really have to respect what this set has done over the past like 15, 16 months. The set has just been crushing it. The Greninja surprised me and surprised a lot of other people. And if we were making this video, say, 2 months ago when this box was $216, I would put it like way up here in A tier. But the fact that this box is now $285 on TCG Player, I just cannot put it that high. Now, if you can buy this box at, say, $220, $230, I'd probably put it all the way up here, maybe even at the top of the tier above Silver Tempest and Astral. But at $285, I'm going to put it all the way back there, and I'm actually okay with that. I really do not mind it. Now, next up, Stellar Crown. I'm going to put this in meh, and I'm going to put it behind Battle Styles. I think I'd rather buy Battle Styles right now. Stellar Crown, there's not a ton of supply of the set on the secondary market, surprisingly. Like, if you go look, based on all the booster boxes from the era, there's probably less of this than every other set outside of maybe SV era, SV Base rather, but Nothing super crazy in this set. You have the Squirtle, the Bulbasaur, Terapagos. Outside of that, what do you have? The Dash Bun, like a Galgantula or Joltik, whatever it's called. So nothing super crazy. Only up 97.5% on the year. Only, again, only, guys. You only doubled your money in a year. That's a great return. But comparatively to everything else, it's not a super great set. For that reason, it's in meh. I really wouldn't be buying Stellar Crown. It's obvious at this point too. And this is something that kind of annoys me. Like I'll see people in my comments and they'll just pick a random set and say that it's underrated and it's going to be the next one to pop off. Like, guys, we're far enough. Obviously, we're done the Sword and Shield era. It's clear the favorites are going to be Evolving, Fusion, Lost Origin. Then you're going to have Brilliant, Chilling, and then that's going to be like the next tier below it. And then you're going to have Silver, Astral, and then the first four sets are just bad, and Battle Styles is down there too. Scarlet and Violet era, it's the same deal. Like, we know Destined Rivals, Twilight Masquerade, Surging Sparks, Paldea Evolve, those are going to be your top four sets. And then everything's just like a tier or two below it, honestly. Like, you really can't argue at this point that anything else is super, super high on the list. And the point I'm trying to get at is do not buy Stellar Crown thinking that you're making like some 5D chess play and you're going to make millions of dollars off it and it's going to miraculously become one of the better sets of the era. It's not, guys. It's going to be a mess, more than likely. And for that reason, it's down there. So next up, Surging Sparks. This is where things get interesting, and you guys got to hear me out because right now, Surging Sparks is, I believe, close to $250 on TCG Player, 242, 243. There are sales though. I think there was a couple here today, right at 250. This one was almost 251. You see some lower sales too, but for all intents and purposes, it's probably a $240 box. And if you look online, it's very difficult to find this box cheaper than that. Now, with Surging Sparks, the box isn't a year old. We're also getting the Costco bundles, which are going to be a regular ETB and a booster bundle, I believe. And I don't know how much effect that's going to have on the booster box price, but you have to imagine that the sell-through rate on this box is going to slow down a little bit because people that actually want to open Surging Sparks or that are running rip and ships, they really don't care where they get their packs from. So they're going to be buying these Costco bundles. And I imagine we're going to see less boxes moving of Surging over the next few months after that comes out. And Surging, there's a decent amount of supply on the secondary market. There's about 100 cases listed below a 20% leg up. At least that's what it was last week when I looked on Monday. So depending on how large the Costco print is of the ETB in the bundle, this could be $240 at the end of the year. It could be even cheaper than $240. So I really don't know where to put it. In terms of just the raw cards inside and ranking the sets in the SV era, it's up there. It's probably A tier behind Destined Rivals, but as an investment vehicle right now, I can't put it that high. I think I'll put it probably somewhere in the middle of all right, like maybe right here. I think I'd rather buy Surging at 240 than Obsidian at 240, even though Obsidian's a lot older. These boxes around $200 are probably going to be better than Surging. Again, like maybe want to put this higher, like up here, maybe in front, but I just think there's going to be slow down in Surging over the next 12 months. And that's why I'm just not putting it higher. Now, if Surging was already a year and a half old, it would be like way up here, in my opinion, at 240. But based on current price, we'll leave it there. That might be a bit controversial. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. Next up, Journey Together. This is a pretty meh set, and I think I'm going to put it at the front of meh. And hear me out here. I'm not a big fan of Journey Together, especially at $210. This is the enhanced version. But the one thing I don't mind when it comes to investing Journey Together is getting a little bit of exposure to the enhanced version. The reason for that is if the reprint comes and we don't get more of these enhanced boxes, or maybe you want to buy one of the regular boxes, the non-enhanced version, if a reprint comes and we only get one style, we don't get both again, there could be a world in the future where the scarcity kind of pushes one of these boxes up a little bit higher than it should be theoretically based on the cards inside of it. So if you want to make the argument to get a little bit of exposure now, just in case that happens in the future, because I do think there will be reprints of Journey Together. I mean, it's a very new set. It came out in March, so only a couple months ago at this point. I don't mind it if you want to buy a little bit for that reason, but going all in on Journey Together right now as an investment vehicle, no. I think there's way better places to put your money. So for that reason, I'm going to put it at the front of meh, just because if you want to buy a little bit, that's great. But don't go crazy on Journey Together right now. I don't think it's a good choice. Now, finally, we have Destined Rivals, and I just want to say Destined Rivals is clearly the best booster box set from the Scarlet and Violet era. I don't think anything comes close. Sure, you can bring up Twilight Masquerade, you can bring up Surging Sparks, you can bring up Paldea Evolves, but when we look at the raw cards inside of it, you have the Mewtwo, you have the Moltres, you have Cynthia's Garchomp, Ethan's Typhlosion, a couple other cards like the Crobat. It's a pretty solid set. We're getting close to $260 again on this box, which is kind of crazy. I think the low like a month ago was around $240. So now we're back to around $260. I think that Destined Rivals will more than likely get reprinted. I think most people would agree with me on that. It's a very new set, so it's hard to rank it because if this set was 2 years old and $256, like say all of Scarlet and Violet era was the same age, 2 years old, they're about to go out of print, it would be like way up here, maybe even close to S tier in my mind. But the fact that it's a very new set right now, I'm not putting it in this tier, by the way. I'm just thinking about where I want to put it. I'm probably going to put it somewhere middle of the pack, maybe even towards the back, something like this, maybe in front of Twilight at 260. I don't mind that. You could also put it behind Twilight, maybe even want to put it way down here in Meh. I think there's lots of places you could put this. I'm gonna leave it there for now, and you guys are gonna see a cut in the video because I was just thinking about it for a minute or two, and I'm okay with this list. I don't mind it. I'm just not a huge fan of Scarlet and Violet at this point. I was buying Surging a couple months ago when it was 210. At 210, I felt a lot better about this box than 250, and that was before we knew about the Costco bundle coming. The reprint too, like if you're in my spreadsheet, you can go look how many boxes are on the market too. There's a lot of Surging out there. So for that reason now, around 250, I just can't put it higher. Same thing with Twilight. Like if we did this a few months ago and it was $210, $215, it would have been way higher on the list. But right now, at $285, I can't tell you guys to go out and buy a lot of Twilight, just with the potential for a reprint to come. Again, Twilight's not part of G Block, so it's going to be in rotation a lot longer than something like Paradox, SV Base, Obsidian Flames, and then Paldea. But as always, you guys let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you did enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. Also, go check out Shiny. I'll leave the links in the description and the pinned comment down below. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.